What's going on, folks? Bill Murphy here of the Sports Insanity Network, and welcome to another exciting edition of Murphy's View. Well, in this video, we are going to recap the Cincinnati Bengals. If you didn't watch the one that was previously released, I am going to be covering the Bengals for the season. We are going to recap Cincinnati Bengals Week 1 game against the Cleveland Browns. The final score of that game was Cleveland 24, Cincinnati 3. So Cincinnati just absolutely got the floor mopped with them against Cleveland. And, it's something we've been saying. Reg and I said this the other night on the Sports Insanity podcast, that Cleveland is a team that you should look out for, their defense and everything, but we'll get into that in a second. First, let's talk about Cleveland's performance. Deshaun Watson, I would say, had a pretty good game, went 16 completions for 29 attempts, 154 yards, 5.3 average, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but was sacked 3 times. When it came to rushing, Nick Chubb had a game of 18 carries, 106 yards, 5.9 average. Deshaun Watson had 1 rushing touchdown with 5 carries and 45 yards. And the receiving leader was Elijah Moore with 3 receptions, 43 yards. And the 1 receiving touchdown was Harrison Bryant with 2 receptions, 5 yards, and 1 touchdown, in which the Cleveland Browns had 350 yards worth of offense. Now, flipping the ball over to Cincinnati's offense was basically silenced by Cleveland's defense, which we'll talk about in a second. Joe Burrow went 14 completions for 31 attempts, 82 yards, and 2.6 average. For rushing, the leader was Joe Mixon with 13 carries and 56 yards. For receiving, Jamar Chase, 5 receptions and 39 yards. And the 1 point was, the only score from Cincinnati was Evan McPherson, who got 1 field goal out of 2, missing the other one. So the Cincinnati Bengals offense got absolutely draxed. And if you remember what I said in the preview video, I said the X factors were going to be the wide receivers, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins. They all had games that were just blah. Jamar Chase only got 39 yards, Tyler Boyd 10 yards. T. Higgins, I don't think, got any. And Joe Burrow, who just got that huge contract extension that made him the highest paid NFL player of all time, just didn't show up today. Maybe it could have been that injury from training camp that people have been talking about for weeks. That could have been a factor of the field, the factor of the field. It was very rainy there. That could have been a factor, but I'm not making excuses for Joe Burrow. But Burrow just came out looking just really sluggish today. It was just not a good game for Cincinnati's offense. Burrow just didn't have it today. And like I said, the factors of the wide receivers, they were barely there. Now, if you also remember what I said in the preview, I said Cleveland's biggest X factor was going to be their defense, and especially their defensive line. And trust me, they really came to deliver. The three that I said, which was going to be the three that I said who was going to be important, was Ogabo Okinawa with 2 solo tackles and 1 sack, and Myles Garrett with 2 solo tackles and also 1 sack and 1 tackle for loss, and Zadarius Smith, who got 2 tackles. So today, those 3 players, they were a factor in this game. The Cleveland Browns offense only held the Cincinnati Bengals to 142 yards. So that really shows you that it was just Cincinnati just didn't have it today. And listen, I'm not ready to write this totally off. It's only week 1. Everyone has a rocky start. Maybe next week they'll come out and show like what this team can actually be. But I think the frustrating part is just Burrow after that big contract extension. I think you just got to see what happens down the road. But Cincinnati and Cleveland will meet again in the last week of the season, week 18, on January 7th in Cincinnati. Next week, the Cincinnati Bengals will be opening at home against the Baltimore Ravens, who are coming off a win against the Houston Texans today. And the Cleveland Browns next week will be Monday night in Pittsburgh, taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, yeah, slow start for the Cincinnati Bengals today. See what happens next week. If you like what you see here, go to www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Check out our vlogs, blogs, read up on us, our podcast, which is available on all platforms. Check us out on X at SInsanityReal, and check us out on Facebook at the Sports Insanity Network, and check us out here on YouTube with all these wonderful things such as Murphy's View, the Thursday Night Gridiron, and Sunday Sideline Report. And check out all the fun stuff here. Now, for the Sports Insanity Network, I'm Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. Hope you enjoyed this recap of the Cincinnati Bengals. Stay safe, take care, and hoo-day!